Recently, folks in Austin saw a small crowd camped out round the clock for a few days across the street from the governor's mansion. Many were in wheelchairs or disabled, and their goal was to meet with Governor Greg Abbott. One of the organizers was a friendly, energetic grandma, in fact, named Kathy Granston. She heads up a group, Personal Attendant Coalition of Texas, representing workers across the state who care for senior and disabled Texans in their homes. Cranston said they've been trying to meet with the governor for years.
We had members of our ADAPT chapter out of El Paso, Desert ADAPT. We had probably close to 10 or so of us here locally. And then, of course, other people came out during the daytime. But we started around 1 o'clock with a press conference there on the west side of the mansion. We all knew why we were there, trying to demand a meeting with Governor Abbott and get him to come out or to respond in some way. And, of course, we contacted his office and sent them all the information.
And Did you hear anything from the governor's office?
So far, no. This whole campaign started, we've been working on the wage piece for actually many decades. And the last session, we were able to increase the base wage from $8.11 to $10.60. And that took a long, hard push, not just from ourselves, but also other disability rights advocacy organizations were pushing as well. And that's a good start, but it's nowhere near what it needs to be. In order for people with disabilities to live in the community, they need home and community-based services. They need a strong workforce that is paid a livable wage. That way there's retention and recruitment. So the big push, of course, is to have Governor Abbott as well as the legislature support us. And in order for that to happen is we have to have adequate funding. That's what we're all about is pushing for support so people with disabilities can live independently in the community.
Okay. Care workers got a raise last year, which you already pointed out. So how would you quickly describe to a listener right now who's worried about the price of things and the cost of living right now? How would you explain to them your need for even higher wage?
Personal attendants, community attendants that work for people with disabilities under Medicaid and state-funded programs, they are, and in fact, our state is one of the lowest in the nation in regard to paying a base wage for community attendants. And in order for community attendants to sustain their families and pay our bills, just as all of the listeners out there are struggling, they need to be able to have a livable wage. Our base wage is $10.60, and no way can people live and sustain their families on $10.60. So there's high competition out there for whether it's fast food or retail. You can start at $15 to $20 an hour. So this field of work, in no way can we compete with those wages. And if people with disabilities don't have a strong workforce and attendants that will do the work for them, they will become institutionalized, which will cost our state 2 to 3 times more. So it's important to support this.
Right. So to institutionalize someone with disabilities, that costs more to the state than to have them receive services in their own home where they're healthier, right? That's
correct. And in fact, COVID was a perfect mirror of what happens when people, unfortunately, a terrible mirror, but what happens when people become institutionalized. We saw a high rate of death within the institutions with COVID and all. And so people are much happier to live in their own home and where they're familiar with their surroundings and also oftentimes with their family members. So
okay.
It's a win-win. Yep.
Thank you. I saw that you got plenty of internet and news coverage. Did you get any feedback from the public standing out in the street there like that?
Actually, we did. Part of the when we're doing an action vigil, we use posters and we got a lot of support from the public, either people passing by asking what was going on and of course we'd hand them our flyer with the ask for them to contact the governor's office and to demand for that meeting, as well as just people driving by honking in support. And we even had some of our CAP Metro, which is our public transportation bus line, honk at us in support, because we have a long history with them, of course. And of course, all our buses have lifts on them now. So, and that was part of the work that we did many decades ago to get lifts on buses. So, yeah. So they know who we are. Yep.
Okay. Final thoughts that you want to leave with listeners?
If you care about these issues and you want to be proactive, you can call Governor Abbott's office at 512-463-2000 and ask Governor Abbott to meet with Adaptive Texas and Personal Lieutenant Coalition of Texas. And if you would care to contact us at our office, we're at 512-442-0252.
For KPFT People's News, this is John Moeller reporting.